Hey everyone, welcome back to another podcast episode of the Always Closing podcast. This is episode 22, and today we have a very special guest, our office manager here at Westlake Escrow, Deanna. So thank you, Deanna, for doing this today.
Yes.
I know I pressured you into doing this, but it'll be fun. It'll be easy, I promise you.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, like I said, you're our office manager here. You're also an escrow officer at Westlake Escrow. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the industry.
Well, I started 19 years ago this past May, and I started as a receptionist, well, at Remax Masters actually, as a real estate receptionist. And then I was hanging out with one of my friends and his mom, and we started talking, and she was an escrow officer at Lawyer's Title, Deanna Martin, and said, hey, you want a job? And I was like, yeah. And so she said, come in tomorrow, and she hired me right on the spot, and she taught me everything I know. And from there, I moved here a year ago, and
So the last place was actually your first escrow.
So I was
company you worked with
I was a receptionist there, office support, assistant. I ran solely a refinance escrow desk, and then from there I went to junior escrow officer, and then with the help of Randy Wright, the title officer, she helped me become an escrow officer with the company, and yeah, that's how.
Wow, I actually didn't know that that was the only other escrow company you've ever worked at.
That's the only
That's
one.
a long time, 19 years.
It is, and I really did enjoy that company. They taught me a lot. So
what makes you stick around with the company for that amount of time? Because normally, like in this industry, people kind of jump around a lot. You know, like realtors, loan officers, they jump around from different realty companies or mortgage companies. So to hear someone's been somewhere for 19 years is pretty rare.
Yeah, well, I stayed there because of my loyalty to the company. I mean, it started out as Southland Title, which was a small company, and then it grew from there. And a lot of the people stayed there, and I just really enjoyed who I worked with. I loved that they gave us training all the time. They treated me really well, and that's why I stayed there. I didn't feel the need to move on, and it wasn't until recently, a year ago, that I kind of felt like I wanted to try something different. I wanted to come to an independent escrow, and this literally fell into my lap. I wasn't even looking for a job, so you guys kind of found me, and yeah.
Hey, well, it's worked out so far.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Did you always want to work in real estate or escrow, or is it something that you just kind of like went into? If not, like, what did you want to do before you got into this?
I was lost, so I had no clue what I wanted to do. I had a little girl, my daughter, and I was given an opportunity to work at a real estate office as a receptionist. My sister's friend April, she actually introduced me to them and got me the job, and then I just I enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people. I enjoyed, when people got a home, their excitement. Like, I kind of just liked that, so I just stuck it out. And of course, every job has its downs, but I enjoyed it more than not.
Well, speaking of the ups and the downs, what's something that you love about escrow, and what's something that you hate about escrow?
I love escrow when people are so excited to have a home, like new buyers, and they're like, this is my first home, and they're so excited, and I'm just so excited for them. Or also when we help somebody with short sales and just to get out of a home, and they're just relieved to just move.
See that relief come off their shoulders.
Yeah, like just to help somebody is just an awesome feeling. I hate being yelled at. I hate when I do.
That does happen to us a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, we kind of get blamed for a lot of things.
We do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we're not to be blamed, because of course we're not perfect. We're human beings. So we do make mistakes, but I just hate when I do make that mistake. I beat myself up really hard, and I literally lose sleep over it, thinking about it and how I could fix it and how I can make it better.
Right.
So I hate that. I hate that part of the job.
Yeah, well, that's part of the learning experience too, right? I mean, you make a mistake and then you learn from it, and most successful people will tell you, that you learn from your mistakes, and that's kind of like some people almost look forward to those mistakes or those failures because it's going to make you better in the end.
Yeah, and that's very true, and it does. Yeah. And you definitely don't make that mistake twice. So.
What do you think has contributed to like your longevity in the industry or being in it this long? Because I guess escrow can be stressful, like you mentioned. So some people like won't hang that long. So what has made you like continue to enjoy working in escrow and make you last this long?
I like the learning aspect of it. I like that it's never the same. Mm-hmm. It's always different. I enjoy that part of it. I do enjoy the ups and downs. I miss being busy at times, but then I hate being busy at times, So it's just, I learned so much in this industry, and so I have so much knowledge that I just can't see myself going somewhere else. I mean, I do have a degree in HR, and as you know,
yeah, you help me out with it sometimes.
Yeah, so I mean, I have been able to put some of that into practice, but it's just not my passion. It just isn't what I really truly enjoy.
Right.
So it's kind of a wasted degree.
Let's go into some like topics about like the market and stuff like that right now. So, what's your overall feel on how the market is right now? Obviously, we've had like some ups and downs over the last year or so.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're still gonna be in it for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel? Things have been the last few months, or where do you think we're going? I know nobody knows, but I always like to ask everybody because for someone that's been in, you've obviously went through 2008, mm-hmm. you went through the different cycles. So where do you kind of see where we're at right now? And where do you think we're going?
It's definitely not 2008. This is so different. At least we had short sales coming out of this. I know people say, oh yeah, they're gonna come, but I don't even see that quake. Before, at least it was trickling in, and then all of a sudden it was a flood of short sales. I don't even see that. So that's kind of disturbing. I feel like people just don't want to sell their homes because their interest rates are so low. Mm-hmm. I feel like if they are selling, then the buyers aren't able to purchase, especially new homeowners, because the interest rates are so high for them, and it's just, I don't know. It's really hard. Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah,
me and my mom were just listening to a podcast yesterday, mm-hmm. and they were saying how the market's kind of stuck right now.
Yeah.
Because normally what happens when interest rates go up is prices come down.
Exactly.
Or demand goes down.
Yep.
But because there's so low of inventory, mm-hmm. the demand is staying up, you know? And right now, we're still seeing over asking going, mm-hmm. People are getting 10 offers again on their properties.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that with the high interest rate. So it's like, what is actually going to cause it to start shifting, So they're kind of saying like, we're just kind of stuck in this little weird section that we haven't really seen before.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see a change soon.
I know. I hope so. I just feel like there's so many agents out there too with not enough inventory. So that's what makes it really hard for everybody to have a nice chunk of everything. It's just sprinkled around right now. So who knows? I really would love to see short sales at this point, because I don't know what's going to happen, and I just don't see people, buying or selling as quickly.
Right.
I know it sucks to say that, short sales, but who knows? Yeah,
there's got to be some kind of movement one way or the other.
Exactly.
But I feel like the way, so I guess part of this podcast is kind of like helping people that may be struggling, right? Like people that are maybe new to the industry or are just struggling right now. Everybody's it's in this little tough moment right now, right? But I think people like us who've been around a long time, we just kind of keep at it, whatever we're doing, right?
Yes, that's
keep
true.
going out. There is business out there. Maybe there's not a lot, Maybe there's not a lot of inventory, but we will survive until we come out of this, and we'll keep working towards it. So if you're in that boat, you just got to keep that positive mindset through times like this, because we've seen worse. It's been worse before,
Yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least we have
2008 was
stuff.
like way worse. And this is slow, but it's been worse. And we come out of it, and we get better, and then we hopefully have a cycle where things get great again.
Yeah.
Which it will happen. So
it will.
So next question. You're a homeowner. How was it when you bought your home? Was it kind of difficult, or what was the market like at that time? And how do you see that situation when you bought your house compared to what it's like for buyers nowadays?
Well, it was awesome when we bought our house, first of all, because we were selling our other house out in Fontana, and we found this house for sell by owner.
Nice.
And just driving around. So that was
Really?
a plus, yes.
Okay.
So we got our realtor Garrett on the phone, and we were like, "Hey,
Shout out to Garrett.
yeah, hey, look, we found this house. Can you reach out? Can we go to their door?" He's like, "Don't go to their door. Get the number. I'll call them." So he reached out. He ended up double ending that one. So good for
Nice.
him. And he even talked them down a little bit of lower price. Interest rates were awesome then too. And my husband is a veteran in the Navy, so we got a VA
Nice.
loan, so that helped us a lot. So, selling a home and then buying this home, and just because it was a for sale by owner, and we actually weren't able to find a home with homes on the market because everything was going so quick and way over asking.
Around what year
price.
was this?
This was, so it was like 5 years ago this August.
Okay, so that was already on the way up, not
Yeah.
the peak, but it was already heading that way.
Exactly.
Before all
So-
the craziness.
Yeah, so we would put in offers like all the time, and even asking over price, and we would just get, overbid it by all cash transactions, or people putting in twice as much as us. So honestly, I think just going and finding a for sale by owner would be right now people's best bet.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel it should be, or even a fixer upper, like something that's just not
Yeah.
your dream home.
But you can make it. You can turn it into it over time.
Yeah, and this was a fixer upper for sure.
So over time, you guys kind of turned it into what you wanted.
Well, we're still doing that, but
Well, it takes time, right? It's a house. It's not something small. So.
yeah, and I mean, we went from a lot smaller house to a lot bigger home. So, the lot itself was just massive with a lot of fruit trees and stuff. So we had to tear up all of that because we didn't want any rats or anything. So.
Right.
And we're not gardeners. We're not going to take care of that at all. So
You're not going home after work and gardening for a few hours?
Absolutely not. So I mean, all of that has taken us time to even do that, let alone.
I mean, that's great advice. I think a lot of people maybe sometimes are looking for like that perfect home.
They are, yeah.
And
We were.
And the unfortunate part is right now with the little inventory that there is, those perfect homes are just so expensive.
Exactly.
Going over asking. So, maybe if you want to buy something now, you just got to sacrifice somewhere,
That's
Maybe
right.
it's not the perfect location that you want. Maybe it's not in perfect condition. But if you budge a little bit on something, then you can get into something and turn it into, your dream home. You can. And I think, me personally, I kind of like that, because you're not going to have it exactly the way you want right away. But I doubt you're ever going to go into a home and you're going to, that's the exact flooring you would have picked. That's the exact paint you would have picked.
Yeah, no.
But you can turn it into that if you find something that is a fixer-upper and hopefully get a semi-good deal on it.
Yeah.
And work that over time.
It's funny that you said that you wouldn't have it exactly where you want it. I wanted to move to Chino or Chino Hills, and we ended up moving just to Ontario, but literally the backyard street is Chino. So I didn't get to live in the city.
So right behind your
But
backyard.
yeah, it's Chino. So that was like a sacrifice we had to make for the home that we wanted. So
you wanted to be in Chino.
I wanted to be in
But you
Chino.
basically are.
Hills.
You basically are in Chino, yeah. But yeah, so you sacrifice maybe on a little thing, but
Yep.
But hey, I mean, it sounds like you enjoy your home now. So.
Yes, I love it.
What's some advice that you have for maybe new people coming into the industry? Not specifically to the market, just for something that you might say, these are some things that you might encounter over your career. This is a good way to get started, something like that.
Well, you're going to encounter mean people and people that aren't so nice to you. You have to have thick skin. That is the number one thing you have to, and that was the one thing I had to learn. I would sit at my desk and cry over this one lender that would make me cry, and eventually over time I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this person make me feel this way,
Right.
And then I just, with time, you just kind of have to brush it off, go to the bathroom, cry it out, do whatever you need to do, and then you just move on. You don't you don't need to hold a grudge on it. You don't need to hold that person accountable for their actions. It's how you're gonna respond to how they act towards you. That's going to make a world of difference. And honestly, killing somebody with kindness is your best bet. And that's my biggest advice to anybody.
That's some really good advice. I mean, I've asked a lot of people that, and a lot of people, everybody gives really good advice, but you hear a lot of the same things. But that's the first time I've kind of heard someone say, you got to have thick skin to be in this industry, because you do.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense. I mean, it is a stressful, like a high stress environment, because buyers or sellers, it's like some of the biggest transactions they've ever made in their whole life.
Of course, yeah.
The people working in the industry have like big commissions on the line too. So everybody's like,
Stress.
a little bit stressed, and sometimes, things like that happen, and you encounter some people that can be a little bit rough. And be nice to your escrow officer, people.
Yes, please.
How do you feel about doing your first podcast?
Nervous. And does it help that the air's not working in
Yeah,
here?
so just so everybody has a little bit of a idea of what's going on here. I don't know what happened with our air conditioning in this building, but a few months ago they kind of made like the whole building is on the same temperature, right?
I don't know, but it is hot in
But
here.
you used to keep it nice and comfortable in here, and all of a sudden it is hot now that it's warming up outside. So we need to have a talk with management, because especially with these lights that are going, it's making it a little even worse.
So it's making it a little bit harder.
But as far as the content, I think we talk about it a lot, and you'll hear a lot of the people that I've interviewed are really big on making content. So we're trying to do the same here at the office. I know last episode was Liz, and now Deanna, and it's not part of their job really. They're more behind the desk. But I think it's kind of fun to do things like this, and hopefully you'll see us do more podcasts in the future if you like doing it.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. I don't know what else I could talk to you about, but
well, this one, I usually like to make the first one more just like about you, your background, but later on we can go into more interesting stuff, like more outside topics and things like that.
I'd love that.
What's something that we don't know about you?
I don't know.
Any hobbies that you like to do that maybe people don't know? What do you like to do for fun?
I like to go to Las Vegas. That's like my fun thing, and I like to drink.
Where do you stay at when you go to Vegas?
Aria.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like Aria.
I love it. It's
Are
my favorite hotel.
you like into the gambling? Are you into the shows?
I'm into
the nightclubs and pool parties?
I'm into just gambling, drinking, and eating good food. Like
Nice.
really good food.
What's some of your favorite? What's some recommendations for Vegas?
I can't remember the name of it. It's a dim sum place in Aria.
Din Tai Fung?
Yes.
That place is the best.
So good. So good. And
I've been there once, because they have one here too. They have a couple in LA here.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so one is in South Coast, and I think they have one in Santa Anita, like in the mall, right there.
Okay.
And I know they have like 2 or 3 around.
Yeah.
Because I've been to
check
the
out
one
the
in
one in Santa Ana.
South Coast Plaza.
Okay.
But the only thing that sucks is that one's like literally a 3-hour wait to go sit down there.
Really? Oh wow, yeah. No, I don't.
That's why I never went, because I was just like, I'm not gonna wait there. But I have a friend that lives right next to the mall. I was like, hey, go put my name down for me, and I'm gonna head over there in a few hours. So that's why we ended up going. And I actually tried to take my mom and my dad, and my dad's not a person that waits for restaurants. So surprisingly, I got him to wait for about an hour and 20 minutes. He's like, we're out of here.
Oh,
so he didn't get to try it. But I do want to take my mom, because my mom will wait.
Yeah, she will.
And lastly, I don't know if this is going to come out right before 4th of July, but what are you planning on doing for 4th of July?
Just staying home, relaxing, barbecuing.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, so I can't really do much. Just got to go work the next day.
Right.
Just chill out. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
A
exciting.
little bit different this year.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much wraps up all the questions I have for the first episode.
Okay.
What else do you want to leave whoever's watching this with? Maybe one last piece of advice for me, because I call this the Always Closing podcast, right? So I always like try to interview people that have been in it for a long time, that, you know, have been through the ups and downs, and might have some advice for someone that's either new or struggling.
I don't know. I mean, that one, just the thick skin, and just really, just, you know, be kind to people too. You know, just, you don't need to give back what they're giving to you. Just constantly, you know, just have a smile on your face when you answer the phone. That is actually one of the things that I always do. I always will smile when I'm answering the phone. I don't know if you guys ever knew that or ever, because I want people to hear that I am excited to hear from them, that I'm happy that they're calling us. And I don't like when people are like, I'm so sorry that I bugged you. You're giving me a job. You're giving me an opportunity to help you.
Yeah.
Like, do not ever feel like you're giving us a rough time or harassing us with your questions. I love when people call us and ask us questions.
That's a good piece of advice. I actually kind of do something similar, but like no matter if I just like maybe talk to somebody one time, like I'll save their name and like what they do, right? Like John Smith Realtor, whatever. Even if we just talk once, even if I didn't do business with them, but I think it helps because sometimes like I'll even hear from people like 6 months, even a year or two later. And then I see the name come up, and even if I don't remember who they are, I'll be like, "Hey, John, like, how's it going?" And they're like, sometimes they're even kind of confused, like, how do you remember me, or how do you even know my name? You know, like, so sometimes just like that extra little, you know, just sounding nice on the phone, yeah, it helps. Yeah. And even sometimes when you're having a bad day, we even say it here too. Like sometimes even if you just finish getting yelled at or talking to someone that's not so nice to talk to, you hang up, just take a deep breath. The next person, you don't have to like roll it over into the next call. You know?
That's right. Yeah, you should never, it's not the next person's issue or problem. They don't even need to know what happened.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
That's why I always try to just, even after a phone call like that, like, Westlake Escrow, this is Deanna. And
Right.
that's how I answer it. And that's how I've always tried to answer my phone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Deanna, thank you again for
very
doing
welcome.
this.
Thank you.
I think you did a good job. So
Thank you.
hopefully we do it again. But thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode. We'll be back in a few weeks. I got some cool guests lined up that I'm going to interview on the podcast. So stay tuned. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, because obviously the more subscribers we get, the more views we get. We'll keep doing more of these. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.